There
we are.
now. Great. And I think I'm going to cough. Hello and welcome, everybody. I can hear an echo. I'm not sure if anybody else can, so maybe perhaps just mute for a minute. Excuse me.
Good.
Fabulous. All right. So thank you, everybody, for being here. And here on our Sacred You panel today, we are talking about cosmic alchemy. And my hope, and I'm guessing the rest of the panel, is that this will ignite you and excite you, pique your curiosity, and perhaps for the non-believers, get you more curious to delve into this, because astrology is a powerful tool that we have at hand. And just a little bit about my background, and then I'll introduce you to, well, get everybody to do a very quick introduction. There's so much to talk about with astrology, and there are so many layers, but we do have a few questions to guide us. So I studied astrology 27 years ago, and I am a skeptic, by the way. So I need to see things and experience them to know that it really is. And it blew my mind. That simply, it blew my mind. And so I have, as long as I've been working with astrology, it's been a very powerful tool in my work. And just so that you know, this is Julie Nelson. I am the facilitator of the Bewitching Tribe, and we do bring astrology into our tribe meetings, which run every Friday from 12:30 Sydney, Melbourne time, Australia. So let's have a lovely introduction from each person, and let's keep it short, sweet, and succinct, and know that everybody's details are always in the comments section below. So Allison, we'd love to hear from you. Unmute, sorry, darling.
Sorry.
Here we go. That's my trick.
Good to go now?
Yep.
Perfect. All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Allison Cotton. Spirit call me a soul connector. I am a human design junkie. So this is where the astrology aspect comes in it for me. I am a very well-known psychic channel business alignment coach who actually supports incredible soul-led women to unlock the keys using their human design energetics and add more woo into their business and diffuse that hustle. So to create consistent 5 figures. So that's a little bit about me.
Beautiful. Human design is just as complex as astrology.
Oh, yeah.
So many layers, so many.
We'll just add astrology and human design together, and it's just like quantum layers.
Absolutely. Thanks, Allison. Looking forward to our conversation. Janaki, am I pronouncing that correctly? I always like to pronounce people's names correctly, so pick me up.
Yes, very close. Janaki.
Janaki. Great.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, I am Janaki. I call myself an agent of change and an alchemist of well-being. Recently I found out I'm a 5 of clubs, which stands for movement and change, a catalyst for change. So very much in alignment. And one of my masteries is supporting, first in my own journey of turning wounds into wisdoms, our perceived weaknesses into our greatest strengths, and supporting others in that journey and of enlightenment, where we're not meant to a destination to get to. We live in our light, and we get to remember our light by going into those perceptions of darkness, and there we discover our light. So that is a little bit about me.
Great. And I must ask, do you know, well, yes, you'll know your star sign. Do you know your moon and rising sign?
I'm a Cancer moon and Scorpio, so I'm 59% water in my
I
chart.
hear you. Yeah. So you've got Scorpio sun.
Sun is, yeah, my rising is Scorpio. I'm like Scorpio, Cancer, and then, yeah.
That's beautiful. Big water, and I get it. I've got a grand trine in water, so I totally get it. Sorry, Allison, just pop in and tell us what your three are.
Aries sun, Aries, Pisces moon. No, sorry. Here we go. I think it's Aries, Pisces.
Awesome. Oh, that water helps to
It
holds.
holds the beast. It does.
Yeah, yeah. Dampen the fire, but the Aries needs it sometimes. Well, I'll just share that I'm a Pisces ascendant, Cancerian moon, and I've got 5 Libra in the house of Scorpio. So I've got that grand trine in water. So we've got lots of alignment here already. And let's check in with Beverly.
You want me to start with it? Because this should throw a good wrench in it. Libra rising and pretty much everything else is Virgo. I am such a Virgo. Yeah, in Vedic astrology, I'm a Leo, and even with that, I couldn't help but be a Virgo. It's as somebody once told me, he goes, why don't you just give up now and become a social worker or something?
Well, Virgos can be very creative. My daughter's got a Libra moon, Virgo sun, and Aquarius rising. I love Virgos. They helped keep me structured. So what do you do, Beverly?
I am here in Vancouver, Canada, and I teach holistic well-being, but I always hesitate to say from a root of yoga because the West misunderstands yoga as being asana, as doing a bunch of sun salutations. There we go, we're done. So I use the whole of yoga for what I do to bring people back into rhythm, which is ritam. And that's the physical form, the energetic form, the mind body, the intellect. And then we get to that bliss body once in a blue moon for a little short period of time. I am completely focused on it. I've been published using everything I do to get me to that space of being. I will write for the rest of my life. I will teach for the rest of my life. I will make it my mission for the rest of my life to create change for women in this world so that they understand that they are so much more than they've been told they are, and that they have the possibility of being everything we all do, every single one of us.
Absolutely.
Growing. And that's where I go with it, is rhythm of your life. And yeah, that's a small piece.
Love it, love it. Yeah, it is a small piece of what we do. And I am an astrologer. I'm a clinical aromatherapist of 30 years where I've brought in the botanical perfumery and a practicing witch of lifetime, but it's been a part of my business for the past 30 years. And I bring all of that in. And my thing is about women rising unapologetically in their truth. And yeah, I'm not going to say any more because I was going to go into a long spiel then. So welcome. And astrology plays a big part of my life now that, I'm fully immersed in it because I know and understand its power. And before we get into the questions, I'd just like to say that the biggest thing that I feel that astrology can give people is taking them away from judgment from themselves and judgment from other people. Because when we, whether it be yourself, we're good at beating ourselves up, but when we know what's going on through the cosmic energies, the stars, the saying, it is written in the stars, it is, there's no getting away from it, that it helps us to take away judgment. And even with other people, because I read people's charts all the time, I can, and friends, and I look at their charts and I understand them. So it's like if something comes up that there might be some conflict or whatever, which we always want to avoid, but I can see Why? And then you can speak their language, which is very, very powerful for me. So this brings me to, because this first question, do you think astrology is an art, a science, or something else? I've talked about this quite a bit and had people pop in that are not astrologists and don't really know much about it. However, they're science-based, yet think that, or have commented that I don't know what I'm talking about. So, which doesn't bother me, but the point is, where do you think it lies? Do you want me to go first to sort of help give everybody? Yeah, Beverly, go.
Happy to start because I study Vedanta with my teacher, and he's a Jyotish. He was one of the first Westerners invited by his teacher to study to be a Jyotish, which is a Vedic astrologer. And everything that we do comes back to it. You can't, it's all the Vedic libraries, it's very much like the body. You can't separate one from the other. And Vedic astrology, all the libraries are a science. This, to me, is a science, just not the way we've decided science should be. Science now is devoid of looking at beauty. And science, as it used to be, is not just about the data, it's about the experience. And so when I look at charts, to me, it is, as you just said, you said it very clearly, very beautifully, it's a blueprint. It is a blueprint of how we're coming in, of what we wear. And so if the science of it can help you figure out how this is formulated, literally how the body is formulated based on the blueprint, I think people would get so much more. They've been told it's woo-woo rather than a great way to figure yourself out and to understand how to maintain this body that you're in. It's, if you were to build a building, you need to know how to upkeep it so it doesn't collapse eventually. So if you have the blueprints, you understand how to fix the pipes, how to do everything, what you need to eat, what you need to do. And it's so scientific, and it doesn't mean there isn't art and beauty surrounding it, because that's what science used to be. But I would call it the root of science, of the science of our being first, and then would expand from there. I'll leave it there because we got so much I know that we can talk about.
Oh, look, I hear you. And it's mathematical. It is science, but it is also energy. And we know that energy becomes matter. And I'm just going to go with this, and then Janaki and Allison can share. So I've actually had scientists tell me it's not a science. And it's been really interesting in conversations, because I've said that it's been over 100 years that scientists have been saying that energy becomes matter. It's real. So, and this is mathematical. Why wouldn't it be? You know, and I never get an answer that they can, you know, come back with me. And by the way, just to give you a little bit more information, astronomy and astrology used to be part and parcel, and then they were divided. And when I studied astrology 10 years previous to that, there were, I can't remember their names, but there were two French astronomers who set out to disprove astrology. They spent 10 years researching, and they couldn't, and ended up writing a book on it. And the other really important thing is that it used to be, regarding the moon, it used to be a part of the Hippocratic Oath with surgical procedures and things like that, but it was taken out of the medical system as well. So there's some little tidbits of information. Allison.
I have studied human design for the last, how many years now? 2012 I started. And it's always been known as a science of differentiation, right? Because like Beverly said, it's part of your blueprint. Like astrology shows you that, and astrology is part of the human design aspects of how you get what you get, like planets and, you know, etc. So, you know, it's a bit of everything. It's a blend. And I mean, if they took it out, what for? Why? No one can tell you why.
Mm,
They
mm.
just did.
I think with medical, it became too busy and it couldn't operate
Yeah, because it
properly.
didn't serve them. So they take out the pieces that don't serve and yet leave everyone to believe that it doesn't exist at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear you. And by the way, if anybody wants to know, like what was always recommended, and because I've done medical astrology as well, is that it's not recommended that you have surgery, you know, especially big surgery, on a full moon because, and this is another thing, I have to bring this up where the scientists are saying there is no proof that the moon affects us on any particular level. Because it is said, believed, and it has been proven actually, that we bleed more on the full moon. And it has, you know, our emotions fluctuate, and our body is 70 to 80% water, depending on what book you read. And we know that the moon has a powerful impact on tides, you know, with the, and if you've ever experienced a king tide, which I have, it's amazing. So why would it not affect our bodily fluids? And so, yeah, I just had to put that in. Just had to put that in.
I'm going to say hashtag energy is matter every time you bring up some silly response from science.
Good idea. Yeah, energy is matter because it is, you know, it's like our thoughts become, or words, and that become energy, and that energy transforms into matter.
Yep.
And science has actually been talking about it for a long time, but if you bring up something else, like I do call it your cosmic blueprint, and or I say to people, it's like a map. So your birth chart is where the planets and signs were sitting at the time of your birth. And then you've got the transits, which the transits are very empowering to get to know. And that's where the planets are moving around over the top of your birth chart. Hence why our energy changes, especially with the moon, because it takes approximately every 2.5 days. So it's, you know, hence some people's emotions and like this, and they go, what is going on? I felt fantastic, you know, a few hours ago, and then suddenly there's a big shift. Well, it very well is likely the moon, and then other planets like Pluto have a very long-term impact on us because it takes 248 years to go around to do its full cycle, and it's 20 to 22 years in each sign. And right now we have the revolutionary Aquarius. Pluto is in Aquarius. Another tidbit of information. Sorry, I can't help myself. The last time Pluto was in Aquarius 248 years ago was when we had the French revolutions. This next 20 years is a time for breaking down the old systems to rebuild the new. And when you know that, you can start taking action. Sorry. Allison, did you finish?
No, it's perfect timing because human design's, we're cutting off Janaki here for her little answering the question here, and I won't take too much more space, but the gate 33 is what we're currently going through in human design, and that is the gate of privacy, right? So we need some time out right now to reflect and look at our next direction. Like this powerful time, we've got Lionsgate, all the other things, we could go in forever and ever, but this period of time in 2024, like the next 3 weeks, is very solid, powerful, intense, but beautiful energy flowing through, and it's a matter of choice, and that's gate 33 this week.
Yeah, it's powerful. And I'll get to you, Janaki, because Pluto is life, death, rebirth, transformation. Aquarius, just for people to know, is the planet of rebellion, revolution, the sign, and Uranus, revolution, breaking down the old to begin the new. They're the four forces. So it's time, and it's already started happening. And now, Janaki, it's your turn to speak.
Hello. Oh my God. I have so many God bumps, especially when you said, because I am witnessing not only in myself, in my community, in our world, this ripple effect of how many people are here. They're here for their big play. They're rising with the tides. And it's like no more sitting and waiting. And that's been one of my perceived weakness is the waiting for things to change. And that was my aha of like 5 years ago when I go, oh wait, I was waiting for the world to wake up. I wake up, I am the world. The world wakes up with me. And so I love what you're saying because that's what I'm witnessing recently. I've been taking such massive action, and also where it seems I'm taking steps back, I'm really building the foundation in my business. And it's not only my business, it is vision and mission for our new earth. And what's happening is all these stars, we're all coming together in constellations, and the constellations are all connecting. And this is what I'm witnessing is how we're all interwoven in this golden thread of life, and we're all coming together. And that's what I received in the I Am Possible before my I Am journey is everything is possible when you remember you're not alone. We are all one, and simply ask for support and you receive. It's been like this incredible journey of epic alignment. So what you're saying, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And back to your question, I love what everyone said, and I love what Allison was saying because it is all, and this is what I'm now witnessing. I remember looking at the eclipse in October and looking at her. I say her because that's what I felt the energy of. And she said, there's no more light or dark. It's light and dark. It's all one. And so this is what I've been experiencing is the merging of all worlds. And about a month ago, I went to a Sapporum. We call it it was like the galactic console of the spiritual console of these doctors and energy workers. So it's really what I'm witnessing is the art is the expression of and the expansion, and the science is more art. In my perspective, art is heart. Oh yeah, art is heart. Yeah. And the science is more our head. Both are vital and important. And it's the bridging of it all coming together. It's not a separation. And that was the perceived. That's why I feel we went through this whole thing with 2020 is this degree of perceived separation was actually the degree of unity that has been returned on our planet. And now we're seeing this we literally are creating heaven now. And as we connect with our bodies, the temple of our bodies through the altar of our hearts, we're coming back home. So I see astrology, like you said, it's the map of the stars. And so it's the science and it's the art. It's both aspects, because if it's just the science, we're keeping ourselves in a box. And if it's the science and art, it's the expansion of the ever expanding experiences that we all are.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think for our next question, thank you, Janaki, how can understanding our astrology birth chart be of assistance to us in every day? I think we've kind of covered that question. It's basically understanding it, and especially it's the transits. Does anybody want to add anything to that? Like from the astrology aspect, what the planets are doing above us at any given time, that's the energy that's being rained down over us. And then you that you put that over the top of your birth chart, and it's like a map as well. We can choose this. It gives us choice on what we're going to do. If it's you know, I've long been wanting to bust the myths of retrograde planets, for example, and I know Beverly's ready to go, because people go, oh no, it's Mercury retrograde, poor Mercury retrograde. Whenever you see a planet in retrograde, the best thing to do is, it's all about the words. Recalibrate, reframe, re-energize. It's going within. Beverly.
Well, I wasn't sure if you wanted to go right into the next question, but you did say if there was anything else. It's about, I kind of actually lost while you were going on, but it was about how that map works. So for me, I like to, and the transits, you know, I'm always trying to frame things that I have gained a deep understanding of and put them in a context that can be accessible to just about anybody. So if anyone doesn't know what transits are or anything else, with Vedic astrology, it is very scientific. And one of the gentlemen that works with my teacher, he's from India, and he's written a book, like he has been able to trace back through the Mahabharata, through the astrology, saying where the stars are, and map back exactly, say where the battle took place in Kurukshetra in the Bhagavad Gita. And he has actually scientifically proven that this battle happened, and when it happened, the exact dates and what was written. NASA uses the same mathematics now from Vedanta, and their numbers match up with Vedic astrology. So when people want to go, oh, woo, it's like, okay, wait a second, NASA uses that, and there's a mathematical balance to it. And if I'm a body, and the Earth is a body, Jupiter is a body, and Sun is a body, and all these things are bodies, anybody that's standing in front of me has an effect on me. We all have had that, where somebody walks up and you're just like on edge right away, or somebody else walks up and you want to be their friend instantly. Different bodies have an effect on us. So if we start to understand who we are through our blueprint, including the effects of what things are happening right now, not just what we were born into, but the effect of things now. There's nature, nurture. And then we start looking at the effects of everything that were happening to our mothers based on their charts when we were in their bodies. We can really start understanding ourselves to such a degree that when something flows in, I can tell you when Saturn's moving through my place, because, oh, I'm just struggling. Like, what is going on? I'm like, oh, wait a second. Let me just check. Where's Saturn right now? Okay, all good. What's the moon doing right now? Right. Okay.
That's
all
what
good.
we do.
Yeah. I know instantly when it's the new moon. I know instantly without having to look at the moon phases, because it is so incredibly obvious in my body, in my mind, in all my actions, in the stuff going on around me. And I think if people understood that they, through that reference point of understanding them, being very clear on who they are, if they could start to learn what those bodies do to them, the effect they have, the power they are, like Brihaspati, which Jupiter, the guru planet, all these things, if they took some time to truly know, not just looking for what the future is, it's not about the future, it's about understanding you so you can deal with today.
Absolutely.
So if they found that, took some time to understand that, and if they were gifted through different people being able to support them in figuring that out, I think they were going to get a far deeper understanding and grasp of life than they ever will through medicine. And I'm not saying medicine isn't right, it's needed, but they could make good decisions. Like you said, no operation on a full moon. They could make decisions that work for them via that knowing that their bones might be susceptible to breakage, knowing that they might tend towards lung conditions. It's just, it's a gift. And we're not told it's a gift. We're told it's woo-woo, forget about it, ignore it, come back to just this.
Yeah, well, it's very, very powerful, and it affects our everyday life. And this is how the ancients, they grew their crops. They knew what direction to go in. And people often say how they were so intelligent, and it's because they took notice of everything that was going on above, below, and around them. That's why. And yeah, so the stars are like our guiding light in many ways. I love that description. And the other one is I'm kind of feeling like, I mean, these questions are quite basic, but we could sort of talk a lot more, but we do have to think of our audience. But so this question I put in because I've had many people say, they're curious about astrology, but they don't want to be defined by their birth chart. And it's just because you know your birth chart doesn't mean to say that you define your life by it. It's giving you a personality profile or a blueprint to work with. And then the transits, as we've talked about, are the energies that are around you at any given time. And sometimes I call them archetypal energies for people to sort of like, you can tap into those qualities, those energies, if you want to bring them into your life. So, or you can ignore them. So the question is, do you relate to your astrology birth chart, your cosmic blueprint, as I call it, and how? And just before I call one of you, so for me, when I studied astrology, the aha moments were so powerful because I began to understand myself, why I had certain struggles and challenges. And, I've got a lot of eighth house stuff for people that know about astrology. If you have a lot of eighth house stuff, your life is filled with challenges because it's all about transformation. If you've got a lot of stuff in the first house, it's all about you. There's lots of things to learn there. So it's very powerful, because the houses are like our personal self, our money, our home, our siblings, our children, our parents, our well-being, our relationships, our philosophies and values, and our business or workplace and our communities. So like I said, there's layers, but it's so fascinating. It can help you to make choices. I absolutely relate to my chart. I never became my chart, by the way. I was my chart, and that's what blew me away. And that's what I found people think when they say, I don't want to be defined by it. You're not. You just are that person, and embrace it. So, Allison.
Yes, just embrace it. It just is. It's who you are. I call it a gold print because I really do think that it has veins of really good gold wisdom in there. Relating to my astrology chart, yes, I do, but I don't know the ins and outs of houses and what each house is and what career section it is, etc. But if you ask me a human design thing, I can tell you straight off the bat where it is. Like, that's my jam. But the astrology aspect is in human design. I do follow the moon very succinctly. So I resonate with some parts of my chart, but I don't, like you said, I am all of the chart, and I truly believe that. I just haven't dove into those sections because it's not been called to me.
Yeah,
right.
fair enough.
But I love the conversation and listening to all of the things. So
yeah,
yes,
beautiful.
I relate, but not in depth.
So I'm just going to give another tip for our audience in Western or mundane astrology, as it's often called. So your sun sign is the day that you were born, the birth date. That's your sun sign. Your moon, and that's your life path journey on the physical plane. All right. So your rising sign or ascendant, as it's often called as well, we have to know your birth time to have that. And that's how we start off in life. So that's how people perceive you. That's how you show up in life. And that can be all through your life. Hence why it's difficult to pick somebody's sun sign unless they're really living in it at that moment. And in astrology, we say some people never reach that point. They never get to master their birth sign, their sun sign. They might stay in other areas of their chart where they feel more comfortable. And then the moon is how we deal with things. It's about our feelings, our emotions, our intuitiveness. And so if you've got an Aries moon, it could be that you're really fast and passionate with your feelings and can have that aggression when you're out of balance. And a Libra moon is like, I just can't quite decide how I feel. Or I've got a Cancer moon. It's just like everything. You just want to be mother for everything because it's so nurturing, and it is in. I know that because the moon can be masculine in some cultures, and in my belief system, it's the feminine. But even in some modern astrology, they're calling the fourth house that Cancer rules a masculine house because men now take care of children. But Cancer in the moon is feminine. There's no getting away from it. I think of the masculine archetype in the 10th house, business, structure, Capricorn, Saturn, so there's just layers and layers that you can bring in that is so powerful. So I just wanted to share that. Oh, and of course, one more thing, the north and south nodes. These are your life path on a soul level. And they're always, the north and south nodes are points, and they're always opposite each other in the chart. So it's about mastering both on a soul level, and you bring them into balance. And that's what it's about, getting to know our chart and flowing with it, our blueprint, and then the transits, so that we can flow more easily in life. Not always the case, but that's the idea. Janaki.
I love the way you described that. So, growing up, I didn't even realize the depth of astrology. I just knew the sun sign, and people would be like, "You're a Scorpio? I don't see you as that," because I have my Cancer moon. And I love, yeah, it's the blueprint. It's like I say, if we kind of keep looking out, it's really about looking in and then using it as a guidance versus like this, like more of I use it as more of a confirmation, even more than a guidance, more of a confirmation of like, oh, kind of a reflection, like, oh, yeah, that's what's going on. I see. Okay, cool. I'm in alignment.
Yeah.
And like you said in the beginning, it's about choice. Like we have these moments, like I recently, I may still be in, although I recently went through this really kind of more of this depth of like a completion area. So it can seem really dark, although like I said, in the darkness is where we discover our most light. So it's really about choice and how we choose to transmute that. So like I said, astrology is not my zone of genius, although I do love how the relation of it and witnessing of how the alignment of it all, because someone once shared with me, astrology is simply like, it's like all of our lifetimes of our soul's agreements that we've had, like we get to come back into this lifetime, and here now this is what we've agreed from all the previous lifetimes. It's like the maps.
With the nodes, they talk about where you're going and where you're coming from, and just to, like, I always feel that it's about being in the now. So our north node, a lot of astrologers say it's where you're going to, whereas for me, it's about what we're here to master now and that energy. And our south node, we mastered in a past life. So you might find if you looked into your south node, you might be surprised and go, oh my gosh, that is so me, because we bring that into, that's a part of us that is so innate within our being. It's just another level. Beverly.
Yeah, I have such actually gratitude for understanding my birth chart now, because same thing, I grew up in time with like, ooh, astrology was big. You're a Virgo. These are well, I am such, again, a Virgo. So I'm one of those incredibly obvious signs, incredibly
Yes.
obvious. In Chinese, I'm a fire horse. I would have been drowned at birth, as been born as a girl, fire horse. So everything I finally, got into Vedic astrology, and I look and I go, oh my God. It was kind of like when I learned yin yoga and I started realizing the bend of my bones matters so much to what my body is going to do and how it needs to do things. The astrology was the same thing. Everything made absolute sense. Everything was so clear. As you were just talking about the nodes, again, they're called Rahu and Ketu. K2 is my ascending planet. It's the node of the moon. It is not a planet. And all my planets are, except for Saturn, are mushed over in 3 little pieces of the pie. There, most of them are in the 11th and 12th houses. I should be a teacher. Well, guess what? I'm a teacher and I'm a guide. I'm supposed to use my voice to speak. Guess what? I use my voice to speak. I'm supposed to write. Guess what? Writing is my joy. So everything was written in there. It was written down. I gained everything. It's that trail of, as Janaki said, of who we have been. And people, I think where people might pull back is they're going, oh, so it's all decided. I've got nothing. No. Your free will. You get to look at where those planets are. Like Saturn, for me, is down in the basement. And as my teacher said, oh, no wonder you've never been married before. I'm like, exactly. But you can you can get friendly with the things that aren't your best friends in those relationships in your chart. Once you know that this over here is going to do battle with this and it's not in a great place, you can do things to make friends with it. You don't have to be best friends, but it's like going to a workplace and being around people you don't necessarily like. You find ways of being friendly with each other so you can get through the work day.
Yep.
So you're doing the same with yourself in the birth chart. And for me, it was like, oh, whew, I can let go of this, right? It's all good that I've struggled to fit into any kind of corporate world or anything else. It just wasn't my thing. And I look at my chart and go, right, because I'm meant to be either sitting in a cave meditating or teaching. Well, here I go. It's like, let me do this because I can work this into life. I can work this into the life that, and as it is now, and I can find my absolute bliss in this. But if I was trying to fight that chart and not be that chart, I'd be miserable. I would be so miserable. And every time in my life, and I look back where I tried not to be that, I was miserable.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So that birth chart, that's your freedom. That, I think, for everybody, that's all they need to know. That's your freedom to go, oh my God, okay, whew, I can stop.
I get it.
I get it. And I can stop trying to fit into everybody else's expectation. I can be who I am and now be the best of who I'm meant to be.
Yeah. And it brings choice. It gives us choice. In
Lots of it.
Other words, absolute choice. It's very empowering.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 questions. I'm just going to swap around for a minute. And perhaps I'll just quickly share this because I want to get into the fun question. But I have a question here that we're not going to have time to go into, but can your astrology blueprint evolve over time? And my simple answer is yes. In Western mundane astrology, we actually, even though I'm a Libra, for every degree in your chart, you can count 1 year, and that will tell you what sign you're in astrology that you're actually living in. So I'm in the midst, even though I'm a 5 times Libra in my birth chart, I'm actually living in Sagittarius energy now. And I feel it, so it's actually really good to take notice and see how much you do change your emotions, your feelings, your decisions. And then if you do choose to get your chart done, which I can do, you'll be able to just see, even with big decisions. I mean, countries use it. Lady Di used to live by it. So when I say live by it, it was for, and I'm not a predictive astrologer. I don't believe in predictive, simply because there's so many things in the physical world that can change. However, there's always the energy, and you can look ahead at where the planets are going to be placed so that you can see and you can plan ahead, but that's different to predictive astrology. I have a fun question for everyone. What would you like the stars to hold for you? And you can make this fun, you can be serious, whatever you want. So, Beverly.
Wow. That's actually it's a fun question, but it's really hard for me because I truly I know who I that also sounds presumptive. I know who I am. I do know who I am. I know I am Atma. I know I'm Atma. And I have come here with all the karma. And again, karma is not punishment. It's just all this stuff that gets wrapped into this blueprint. And it's my job in this lifetime to release. So maybe not so much for me what the stars hold for me. What I'd like them to hold for me is I would like to become even better friends with all of them. I want to know them in such a beautiful, intimate friendship that I know if my dearest friends, I know what it is they need. I know when to be quiet. I know when to say, hey, let's go do something. I want that friendship with the planets that move through my life, move me, draw me. So it's not so much what they will hold for me as what I can do once I have become closer to them.
Yes, so building that beautiful, intimate relationship. And that's how I work sometimes. And I've done it with essential oils. I call them my best friends. And that's why sometimes I explain to people about them being archetypal energies. They don't, a particular planet or sign doesn't have to be a main point or anything in your chart. You might not even have anything that's a strong aspect, but you might want to draw in that energy, like an archetypal energy, like evoke that energy, like Jupiter, for example, one of my favorite planets to work with. And it's all about awakening, expansion, optimism on the empowered aspect, philosophies, the higher learning, but it's also can be the opposite in retraction. So
so that's my fun answer. I'm going to add one little thing because I want to make sure everyone's got time to give their full answers.
Oh,
what
sorry,
you said about no, oh no, it's good. I just thought of this because you had said about the predictive. So here's the idea in Vedic astrology. If a Jyotish dares to believe he can predict the future for somebody, the belief is in his next lifetime he will come back blind because he thought he could see everything and tell somebody what their life would be rather than allow them their free will to get there. So
they're on the same
not about
path.
prediction. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Janaki.
Yes, that is a fun question because in this now moment, I have been through so much quantum expansion. I almost said expression, and that as well. Within my own inner journey and seeing the ripple effect that in this now moment, I am so full with so much gratitude because as I was sharing, this is what I'm witnessing now are all these stars are coming together. We're all stars. We're all shining our unique light, and we're all coming together in constellations, and all these constellations are coming together. And so I'll share what was my vision as a small child is I would look at the stars because I felt I was an alien here on this planet, and I'd look at the stars and say, I want to go home because I felt so foreign here in my body. And I have the inner knowing of, yes, we're all here in our avatar, in our fun jumpsuit, that our costume we've chosen to play in. And so that's what is the really being home. And I received the acronym for home when I was 18, pregnant with my son and attempting to take my life, because that was one of my MOs, is I would want to check out and leave the planet because I felt so foreign here. And then when I say I want to go home, I heard you are home, heaven on Mother Earth. So my vision and mission is not, I mean, what we give ourselves is truly what we give the temple of our body through the altar of our heart. We truly are giving. What I've received is what we give our me, we're giving our collective we. And so my vision and mission, and what I've seen since a small child, is where we truly are living in harmony with all of creation, all timelines. And what I've received, when I was channeling some light language, there was one time I heard a transmission come through, and it was saying, you're here to remember it all lifetimes, all dimensions. And every time you remember, the timelines and dimensions merge together, and that is unity consciousness. So I stand for unity consciousness. I stand for innate power rooted in love. And that's what I see. And that's what I'm witnessing, is what I give to me, my me, we're giving to our collective we. And so that's now what I'm seeing. I really am seeing this. And it's really the journey of radical self-love, embracing our whole self. And this is what, like, the messy parts, all the parts we've yet to love, all the parts. And so yeah, that's been my, and now I'm seeing this. I am seeing this. We truly are. We are creating right now heaven. We're all coming together.
We're trying.
All
Some
the space,
people
all
aren't
the
able to.
And that's okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. And it's really what I'm witnessing is what we're holding in our mind's eye in the highest light. And no matter what we see, the perception we see in our, because everything is a matter of perception. So if we're seeing our world as something's wrong or gotta be fixed, then you're living in that triangle of the hero, victim, like the villain. And I found this new point of the center point of the observer of it all.
Yes.
And we really are all, that's what I'm seeing, is all worlds are merging. Truly, that's what harmony is. It's not balance, because balance it's still being in the polarities. It tips,
Yeah.
it's harmony, it's the flow, it's the dance of it all. So
Beautiful. I'm just going to ask you to wrap that up so that Allison can
I am complete.
have a word. But I do understand you, because I've been a stargazer since a child, and I always believed that I came from there, and I used to know I was going back. So yeah, I get that. Allison. Well, and it's easier for people that don't really know astrology really well to answer this question, by the way, because it's even hard for me, as a fun question. So, Allison.
Very similar to you. I believe that we came from the stars. I've been awakened since I was 7. I know what the stars hold for me. Like Beverly, I know who I am. I know the parts of me. But there is also, in this physical jumpsuit that we live in, there's a higher frequency and a low frequency. And that can be based on transits, that can be based on the conditioning that we've had here, education, etc., whatever. So I would love for the stars to help me ascend to the highest frequency in this lifetime.
Love that.
Because
And
the highest frequency of, yeah, that's right. And so, that's part of what I'm here to do, is master that ascension.
Yep. Beautiful. And that's what they are there for. It's like, you know, for me, it's like, just let me keep aligning to them, to trust and get to know
The more
them.
you give, though, the more you give it, the more you get back.
That's right. Absolutely.
Like, you know, like once you wake up, and I know that there is millions waking up now on the planet, like, and we're just about to have a fork ton more after this Lionsgate, because there's just so much light coming to the earth. Right? I feel that deep, 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 deep down into the earth. Like, so yes, that's what I would like.
Beautiful. I love that. I do. And I see you. I hear you. I hear all of you. I see all of you. There is.
But just to be cheeky.
Yes, go.
Just to be cheeky, because your fun question, when you said, what would you like the stars to hold for you? I actually thought you were going to give us a little tidbit each.
Oh, well, okay.
Well, there you go.
Well, I'd need to know
okay.
your chart.
That was just, like I said, being cheeky.
Yeah, well, for those of you that don't know, I'm happy to give you a couple of
Maybe the second round.
Yeah, that we could do that. We could do that.
Second panel.
Yeah. But so for example, what's your sun sign, Allison?
Aries.
Oh, Aries, of course. I mean, Aries is, you know, some key words. The big key words are passion, you know, motivation, doing. They can often step over the boundaries sometimes. They angels fear to tread where Aries might go. They're the opposite to Libra in the chart. So, you know, and you just got to watch out for burnout and aggression, because it's that fire masculine. And
I know it all too goddamn well.
yeah.
And to top it off, right, we were talking about the control aspect of things, you know, very, very early on. I have gate 21 in my human design chart as my sun sign, so 70% neutrino energy, and it is about the gate of control. You know, we got the fire and the control and the whole thing. You can imagine how much conditioning I had to decondition.
Yeah. and just to add another thing, so fire is all about transformation. If you look at our natural bushfires in Australia, that's what they without being made by somebody or a human or a person, but Mother Nature creates those fires for our forests, our trees, our eucalypts to regenerate, because our eucalypts, when they drop their gum nuts, and they need smoke to activate them to open up so that their seedlings can drop out. And then acacias or wattles, this is my horticultural background coming out, are known as nurse plants because they protect the baby eucalypt seedlings, and then once they've grown big enough, the wattles die. So it's that cycle of, you know, the rebirth and all of that. And with astrology, we are forever going through cycles. We can go through them every couple of days, and we can go through them in a lifetime. Like, it's just that constant flow. So being able to tap into that magic and that energy, which brings us expansion. And it's when we find that we're struggling. When life's great, we know, like, we don't really, it's just like the planets are aligned, or we're aligned to the planets. But when things aren't, that's when most of us look up and go, I knew it. There it is. It's right there. So it gives us the choice to change. And like I said, don't fear planets in retrograde. It's like the dark moon. It's simply about going within, being still, reflection, you know. And this is such a topic, and I know Beverly would be so there too, that we could talk and talk and talk and talk about. There's layers upon layers, as there is in human design. So thank you so much for being here. Just before we wrap up, we might just have a quick word about the Sacred You community, which is a beautiful community. We're all a part of it being here. And if you wish to pop in and check out any of the tribes and what's going on, you can join for $1 US dollar for 2 weeks and get to explore the Sacred You community and get to explore as many tribes as you like in that 2 weeks. Perhaps you might need to take a couple of weeks holiday to be able to do that, but there's lots of incredible tribes like human design, astrology, magic, perfumery, meditation, so many things. So you can go to our website. The links will, for everybody here, will be in the comments below. So will the website link for Sacred You, where you can go and check out. And also we've got the Harmony Fest coming up in September. So if anybody would like to have a virtual stall, do readings, run masterclasses, then you can join Sacred You and be a part of that. Or you might like to book in a reading or buy something virtual or go to a masterclass. So check it out. It's beautiful, and come into our Sacred You group, which again is quite active, which is fun. And any last words about the stars before we sign out? Beverly, of course.
It's slightly about stars, because I think Sophia has created something beautiful here, aligned with her purpose, drawn in from her blueprint of being. And so I want to throw this out because I want to find ways to support her on this journey. That's why I show up for so much of this, and I'll be starting my tribe in September. But anybody who signs up to work with me, I'm giving 20% off, and that's a huge chunk of change for me. So I'm giving, as long as you're a member of Sacred You. So even if you're doing the 2-week membership, for anybody who is a member, signs up to be a member, is already a member of Sacred You, and you want to work with me, you get 20% off. You are going to get so much out of Sacred You. So much, including the community.
I think you're going to create a ripple effect on that now. I'll think about an offer and do it. In fact, I know exactly which one, so I'll put it up in the group next week.
Yay.
All right, my lovelies. Anyone else? Because I know we're a bit over time, but we'll have to go. Nope, all good. Okay, well, thank you so much. And we'll see you at our next panel discussion. I've got a witchy one coming up next week, which is going to be very good. Yes. All righty. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.